On Loose Lines is back for another week. And that's it, Topes. That's all it needs. It is a show about harness racing in the way that Toby McKinnon and Daniel Hibberd see it and share it with me. Firstly, Daniel, welcome. And good to see the Melbourne hat on. Better than any of that Richmond rubbish that we've had to put up with for the last few years.
Yes, thank you, Paul. Good to be back. Yes, travelling well, but knowing our luck, the season will get called off next week and they'll forfeit everything and they'll give the premiership to Richmond anyway.
Toby, NZB McKinnon, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, Paul. I thought for tonight's show we could dub it the One Too Many show.
It may have just got the chocolates. We're not...
yeah, and it also won a race tonight too. One Too Many.
Did it really? Very good. Could I give you a little hint, Tobes? When you're going for the camera's in the middle of your screen, not to the left of your screen. That's better. Much better. How's the week been?
You know what tonight's good for, Paul? A bit fresh. Good for a braise.
For a braise? A horse. Oh my gosh.
No, a cam braise.
Oh, is that... Oh, he'll be loving this. Are you on a retainer from Cam to mention his name 3 or 4 times?
Pencil it in, mate. Pencil it in.
He missed me NZ show this week. I haven't heard from him. That's it. Cam Kirkwood does a great job. He's a good man. Cam Kirkwood, actually, I must say, doing a little bit of work. He's got to do a lot of work for Kath McIntosh. She'll have him on the hop as the bloodstock agent for New Zealand. So anyway, I digress. A bit of a sad week to start it off with, boys, with the passing of two gentlemen that have been very synonymous in harness racing, Gary Hoban and also Billy Glover. I knew Billy, I was only a young man when I first met him, and I always thought he was some sort of weird hippie, but he was always a terrific guy and always said g'day to you. He was a lot of fun. Didn't know him from the punting side of things, but listening to a lot of the stories that people said, he was a very astute punter back in his day by the sounds.
Yeah, I knew him very well, Paul. He came to Yarra Valley or Yarra Glen trials from every second week. We'd have the trials there on a Sunday morning, and as you may know, I started calling the trials there when I was 10 years of age, and he'd sit up there in the little room next door and time the horses, and probably taught me a lot of things that my mum wouldn't have been too proud of me being taught about how to analyse a trial and see who was pulling one up in a trial. And probably one thing he really taught me was, and back in the day, it wasn't a bad thing to run second, as you didn't do a class. And to know in a race, when you're having a trifecta, who's going to win the race and who's actually not really going to win the race because they're happy to run second, and then you leave them out, you've got to conclude them to run second sort of thing. That was one of the really good things he taught me. But probably, and I mentioned this on SEN today, but my fondest memory of him would be turn up to the trials on a Sunday morning, he'd say, oh, who are you playing in the footy this Arvo? Might have been playing Seville, and he'd say, oh, they're the arch rival, the closest town to you, and you beat them earlier in the year, you think you'll beat them today. He'd remember who I'd played in footy that year, who we'd beaten, and then next time I'd see him in 2 weeks, he'd say, so you got up over Seville, that would have been a good win. Like he'd looked up the result, and then he'd talk about it to me. And when you're only 10, 11, 12 years of age, those things mean a lot to you.
Yeah, I can remember being at Bendigo Trials when I was a young junior driver, and there was the likes of him, Gary Hucker. They would all get there because there was no video recorders like this, how long we're going back. So they'd actually all be there, and it was amazing, Daniel, just watching their freehand, how they'd actually write stuff. Once I sort of stopped driving that little bit, they'd let you observe what they were doing, and they all had a different little formula and the way they did things, and they were very meticulous, and it was interesting to watch. They were a different breed back then. Now, you basically need a setup like I've got here, or most of us have got 2 or 3 computers and screens, and away you go. But back then they used to sit there and watch them all the time and be able to analyse it a lot different time back then. Like, there was no problems there at all. It was a very different time. Toby says about pulling one up at the trials, that happened all the time. There was no worries there at all. People weren't letting a horse run at all to their ability at the trials. Now it doesn't happen because there's so many cameras, everyone knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's just, back in those days, information was key, and a lot of the time, information wasn't available for particular horses at particular tracks, and where they'd run and that sort of thing in trials and things like and workouts and things like that. But these days we've just got it's such a plethora of information that's available for the punter. Basically, what the horse had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it's all there for the punter to work on. In those days, you're dealing with tidbits and little bits of grainy video footage that you could pick up. And I remember back in the old days at Donald with the races there, Huckerwood was always often up there with a video camera up in the top of the judges box, videoing the races at Donald. I mean, that was just the way they did it to get that information and get any advantage they could get in trying to find a winner.
They used to love those meetings too, the Donalds and the Birchips and those ones. Topes probably was a bit young to back in those. So I remember getting there and all the pro punters used to be there. They used to love those meetings.
Graham J. Hansen tells a good story about the trials, Paul. He had one that he needed to qualify, and True Roman was in at Globe Derby, so he took it for the trip to Adelaide and qualified it at Gawler, so no one saw it. He brought it back here, and it opened $1.50 favourite because the punters had never seen it and figured, well, he's doing shifty business for a reason, so it must be a good horse. So he said it still opened a bloody $1.50, and it won, of course.
I was
all the way to trial a horse.
I was fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to work for Graham back in those days, and he was pretty heady times. We used to have some very big punters in that stable. It was a lot of fun. So I could tell a lot of stories, Tobes. I won't, because it would be very different, I must say. Harry Beitzel was one of the owners. I was trying to think of the guy's name with his plugs, but yeah, Graham had a great team. How's your week been, boys? Who would like to go first? Neither of you? Right, Daniel, may you go first, please, because otherwise it's going to be dead out.
It's been an interesting week. Obviously, COVID restrictions have really thrown a spanner in the works with everything. I know we mentioned last week before the big meeting at Melton on Saturday night that we were praying that we would get a crowd to the races, and obviously that all went pear-shaped pretty quickly after we recorded the show, essentially. And we're in this lockdown stage now, and obviously regional Victoria's, hopefully, fingers crossed, going to come out of it tomorrow night, and Melbourne looks likely to stay in it for at least another week. But it's just one of those things. But the participants have really continued to work hard to follow the rules so that our racing continues, and that's very important. The racing at Melton on Saturday night was superb, and it was really disappointing that there wasn't a crowd on track to see it, because it was a fantastic card with all the APG races, and look, so many highlights there. But obviously the two big winners out of the 3-year-old races, Tasty Delight and Tough Tilly. Obviously all the backstory there with Tough Tilly, it was just fantastic. We saw that video footage online of the celebrations with the horse winning. Like, it was just a fantastic performance, and like she'll continue to race at that top end for as long as she can. I think she's going to be an absolute star, and she'll just about start favourite in anything that she contests. The other winner, Tasty Delight's been crying out to win a big race, and like that was a cracking field, and was able to really lead all the way, and made it impossible for anything behind it. But just really good racing. And the two Gold Bullion races, Dave Moran, we've mentioned on the show previously how good a driver he actually is, and when he gets an opportunity in these big races, very rarely does he let you down. He's and the two drives were pretty different in how the races panned out. Lightning Dan's obviously been an enigma for the last little while, but he was able to get him to get up on the inside there and win. An Irish Black Label, who I thought was a really good run in its heat and was probably the one to beat in the final, was able to come down the outside with a great burst. Like, he just seems to be able to read a race really, really well, and particularly those big races. I just had a look at his stats. I think he's sitting at about 30% winning percentage of his drives. So I mean and he's not had many drives this year. I think he's only had 60 something drives. So he's sitting on about 20%, which is a fantastic strike rate. And it was just a fantastic night of racing there. Really disappointing that no one was on track, because I think we would have seen some pretty excited owners had we been able to have them there.
I totally agree, and I think Toby might want to touch off on the meeting as well, but I just want to give Lee Sutton a huge shout out as well. You say about Dave Moran and what he's doing. Lee's had plenty of trials and tribulations over his journey. Some have been documented, some haven't. I know the man very, very well, known him for a long, long time, and it's just great to see him, winning races and winning the way he is, and presenting himself so well afterwards in the post-race and the likes. And he's got one thing that the three of us haven't got, Daniel. I'll cross you in a sec, don't worry, but he's got Sooty on his side. He's got Sooty on his side, so Lee Sutton's never going to end up on Twitter in a bloody leotard of rainbow colours or anything like that. So yeah, he's probably got the ability part too, Toby, you're probably right, but I just reckon he's doing a stellar job right at the minute, him and Russell Jack as well. Yes, Daniel?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. That was the other part of what I'd written down. The double for the Jack stable and Lee with Santa Casa Beach and Sonny Weaver. Santa Casa Beach has always had a ton of ability, and it comes out we've mentioned previously, it comes out of one of the hottest trials that Shep's probably ever had, where 5 of the 6 horses that started have come out and won at their first or second start. And he's going to bring out the Death Fan, isn't he? He's just about to bring out the Death Fan. But he's flying that horse, and I didn't think he'd go. I thought that he might struggle in the final, but he's just proved how tough he was. And Sonny Weaver, this horse, Paul and I have seen him a lot at the races during the regional racing, and we both sort of thought, well, he's got to be driven really sit sprint. If he draws one and can sit behind the leader, he can get up on the inside and win, which he did about 4 or 5 runs ago. But his last 2 wins have just been, his last Saturday night he had to come from last, but the pace was on, but he still had to do a fair bit of work. And the run before, where he drew 13, I mean, you probably wouldn't have thought that he had any hope of winning it, but he was able to get over the top of them with a great drive, and he's paid $24 and $29 on both of those occasions. So he's absolutely flying that horse. And Lee's just driving so well, and Russell's team's absolutely flying as well. So they're all doing a great job.
Russell Jack, one of the ones that flew under the radar a little bit, I just found it was Dealmaker. I couldn't think of the horse's name as well earlier in the month. Cameron Maggs actually drove that horse for 2 and a bit years off the racetrack and won first up and went terrific as well. So he's going terrific. Sorry, Tobes.
Yeah, can't remember what I was going to say. I was just going to say that when Sooty does those images, he hasn't doctored any of them up of me. That's just me in actual footage.
Yeah, right, you peanut.
No way. No way.
While we're on Melton, I did have one thing to talk about at Melton, Paul.
Yep.
And here he is here. This is James. James here was in the last race, and he was sitting back, Rastafarian style, Paul, smoking the pipe on Hugo Rocks, and he come down the middle of the track, and he won the race. Good on you, James.
That's it. That is one of your props. That's one of the ones you've been working all day on.
Herbie. It's Simba. Smoking the pipe.
Oh, God.
Very, very sad indeed.
Wait till we get to Taz.
When is Taz? Should I ask or not?
We'll get there.
So that was. What about at Cranbourne, Tobes? You're the Cranbourne man. Was any notables out of Cranbourne meeting?
There was, but I thought, is there a structure to this anymore, or do we go back? Do you want to start in the middle and then work either way? Or
there was a wing it. Sorry, Toby. Then what was your highlight then? One of your highlights.
We can go to Cranbourne if you want, Paul.
I'm easy.
Now, I don't have a prop for this because it could have got me in trouble. The horse's name was Feel the Buzz. All right. For Mario's fella. Come on, just to be sensible. Mario's a wonderful man from Croydon. He's trained 23 winners in his career, Paul, and it was a great little win for Fielder Buzz and Matty Ablett. A couple of people most people wouldn't really know of. Mario got a mare, in about the mid-'80s called Astron Lass and had a lot of horses. He had Sir Astron, Lady Astron, Prince Astron, and Lord Astron all won races for him through the 90s and early 2000s. And he's had a bit of success with a horse, Greeno, as you may know, and a horse called Feel the Buzz winning on Sunday night. First winner for a few years for Mario and also for a few years for Matty Ablett. So Matty Ablett his stepfather was a bloke, Bluey Dunn, and they used to actually train their horses about 50 metres from where I'm sitting on my parents' property. So I sort of grew up playing cricket in the front yard with Matty, so it was great to see him win a race at Cranbourne. Paul.
Very, very good, Tobes, and very, very controlled of you, I must say. So, and Croydon, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the track, it is actually still there, the little track behind the industrial area in Melbourne, is that right? No? No,
you got the wrong one. You're thinking of Southern Speedways. Croydon is still there, though. You are right. It is still there, and that's why they're still training from there. They're not still training from there after it's gone.
Whereabouts is it, Toby?
In Croydon, Paul.
Where is Croydon, Toby?
In the eastern suburbs of Melbourne, Paul.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to ask for any more because I reckon it's going to take too long, Daniel.
If you drew a line from Yarra Glen to Cranbourne, it's a third of the way from Yarra Glen towards Cranbourne.
Thank you. That was much easier, wasn't it? So it was a sensible question I was asking.
You asked me where it was. I'll give you a simple answer.
Anything else, Tobes?
Oh, there was one notable at Horsham, I thought, Paul.
Okay, we're going to Horsham. Yep, that's very good. That's fine. We'll go everywhere. There was a few notables, wasn't there? But no, you're right. When was Horsham? Friday. Sorry. Yes, Toby. What was your notable on Friday?
I thought Katie's Way winning the last as a 7-year-old mare having its first start was quite notable, Paul, and it was bred and trained by Wayne Pearson. He even bred the mother, who was an unraced horse in 2004. He bred the mother. She was unraced. He bred Katie's Way in 2012. She's had her first race start and brought up his first winner since 2018. So to think he got a mare. He actually had this family for a long time. He has had some winners in different arms of the family, but to think the mother was bred in 2004 and 17 years later he gets a winner out of the progeny. Great result for Wayne.
Absolutely. And guess what it's it's actually got another foal. Guess what that other foal's by, Tobes?
Guaranteed.
Yep. It's a little in-joke, but yes.
Do you know Paul Guaranteed won $856,000?
I think it was a bit more. It was about 64, Tobes, but I don't want to throw you under the bus. It's all good.
Well, can we check that, please?
Yeah, I'll check it. What else did you have, Tobes?
I thought the
856 it was, Tobes.
Oh, is that what I just said?
No. Yes. Now,
Do you know who this is, Paul?
Yes, this is the Tasmanian Devil. Yes.
Alrighty. I thought it's notable, Paul, in the Australian trainers' ranks, Taz here is still on top. Ben Yole, known as the Tassie Devil, still leading trainer, but notably, Paul, 7 of the top 10 trainers in Australia are what?
Tasmanians.
Female.
Thank you, Dan.
Did you realise that he trained his 100th winner the other day, Tobes? Already in the
he's
season?
had a lot more than 100, yeah. But
no, he hasn't had a lot more than 100.
Yes, he has.
Not this season, he hasn't.
Not this season, no.
That's what I just said. He just trained his 100th winner this season. He's had a lot more. Don't tell me to butt out. You want to listen to yourself. I'm right, aren't I, Daniel?
I'm not touching this. You have the fight between yourselves.
It's actually interesting. I was looking at Launceston Fields. I must say, a sneaky little one for you guys on the punt at Launceston. You talk about people sneaking horses down. Kate Hargraves and Alex Ashwood have snuck a little 2-year-old down there having its first start in in Tasmania. They've only got the one runner too, so it's a $10,000 race. But good luck to them if they thought they were going to sneak it down. I've spotted it, but I went through the fields, and up until the last race, Ben Yole has competition, but the last race is a completely Ben Yole affair. So yeah, which is interesting. But he's doing a good job. He's keeping the racing going, so that's fine. Another Tassie. Right, Tobes. Thank you very much. That's cool. Daniel, we'll leave Toby alone for a minute. What else have you got for us, mate? We'll come back to you in a minute, Tobes. Don't worry. Put your hands together. You just got to regroup, okay?
Well, I've just, speaking of premierships, I just thought it was this is normally Toby's
Richmond Lace.
area of expertise, but
Jackie Law.
But looking at
Back ahead.
at the Victorian Drivers' Premiership, we've mentioned this a lot, and it's just absolutely heating up. I know we're not even quite halfway through the season, but it's quite remarkable that at this stage of the year you've got three drivers separated by just one victory, and you've got the leaders are tied at the top on 85 wins. It's it's incredible. Jack Law 85, Greg Sugars 85, and Kate Gath. The topical tip for Toby, or his selection. It was your selection, wasn't it, to win the premiership?
Mate.
Whose was that? Was that
Campbell.
Paul Campbell?
I said Greg Sugars.
Well, she's on 84, so there's nothing between the three of them. They've got a bit of a gap on Alfred, who's on 64, and it's the Rastafarian's not far behind them either. But it's a fantastic season from a premiership perspective. And look, it's obviously still got a long way to go, but it's going to be a ripping finish when we get to the last couple of months of the year.
No, it is. It is actually good, and the depth of drivers we have, I think, is very, very good. Your next prop, Toby?
And even looking at the trainers premiership, there's nothing in the trainers premiership either. Emma's on 59. This is the state premiership. Emma's on 59. Julie Douglas 54. Andy Gath 52, and Kate Argrove's 50. So, and Butt Smith's on 40. So there's not much separating the trainers either.
No, absolutely. Julie had a night out at Mildura the other night again as well. So did Jackie Law. Well done to them. Tobes, what is your next one? Do we have a prop for the next or not?
No, I'm into the looking forward into the future now, Paul.
Daniel, have you got any other recaps for the week?
No, I'm good. Camp. I'm good.
You're all good as well. Very, very good. Have you got props for the looking forward, Tobes? Just out of curiosity.
No, not really. I wouldn't mind, but for the first one in particular.
What's the first one, Tobes?
Bendigo race 2, number 1. Well, he's off. He's off, Paul, in a race fields. He opens up Bendigo. He goes to race 2, and he finds
your mate,
Miss Artemis.
Your mate.
She gets into a very winnable race, Paul.
Your mate. He looks after his mate all the time. It's $26, Tobes.
No, it's not. That's what whoever's done that's rated it. It should be about a $3 chance in that race.
Well, it's rated as a $26 pop. So, yeah. Anyway.
I've also race 7, number 13, Paul.
Big numbers. What race?
Race 7, number 13.
Yeah, tell no lies.
He's got no answers anyway.
Tell no lies.
That's not its name. Its name's Ask No Questions.
And tell no lies. It's a big card. It's a big card at Bendigo, but an early finish for everyone concerned. It may be a bit fresh. The nights get very chilly here at Bendigo at the minute, I must say. So, anyway, Daniel.
Well, last week you reckon, Paul, it was great having 12 race cards, which I don't think went over too greatly with some of the participants.
What do you mean?
Last week you said that it was good having 12 race meetings.
And we had what I actually said was we had a 9 race card at Horsham, we had a 12 race card at Mildura, we had a full field at Melton. I said it is terrific, the depth in the horses. If people don't want to race with big cards and big meetings, that's fine. If they want to complain about the size of the stake money because the TAB turnover ain't there, can't have your cake and eat it. If Mildura can have capacity fields, let them have them. So, yeah, that's okay. If people don't like it, they're entitled not to like it. I know the stewards don't like it. Hey, I can tell you the guy doing Trot's Vision don't like it either. It's all good.
I think you hooked one. He's on. Really, Mid?
Right, Toby. What's your next one before I hang up on you?
Oh, please. Oh, please don't hang up on me. I don't want to go to bed. Ararat, Paul.
Yes, there's a few interesting runners at Ararat.
Race 1, number 7, Rebecca Zard. I thought she did a terrific job at Geelong last week. She ran in 2 races in a row. There's a little clip. Oh, dear.
What happened?
She ran in 2 races in a row. Just go back and watch the footage. Won't go into it any further. Race 5, number 11, Caesar Ryan. Some of Michael Bellman and my favourite work. Now, Dan, you'll remember at Hamilton, I called this horse the graffiti artist because it keeps putting the writing on the wall and doesn't win, right? Since then, it ran
Correct.
4 seconds in a row. Michael Bellman comes up to me at Horsham and he says, "We're going to have to change the name of that horse." I said, "What to, Mick?" And he says, "The Photo Bomber." Very, very well played. Come on. I reckon that is gold.
Yeah.
He has too much
That's
time
very
sitting
good.
in a car by himself, Bellman. That's his problem.
And last of all, race 8, number 2, Paul. I think this horse is just going to explode onto the scene.
I've got to look it up.
Jillaby
Dynamite. Yeah.
Seriously.
Actually, it was interesting to look at that horse, being out of Jillaby Jitterbug, who actually raced in 2019. This horse is a 3-year-old. So it was either an embryo transfer or she foaled while she was out spelling and came back afterwards. So, yeah, because she's raced since this horse has been born. So I'd be interested.
Oh,
I'd be interested in. I was looking it up just there before. So yeah, it's by Captain Treacherous, and it's a 3-year-old. And I'm just getting up. It's Jillaby Jitterbug right now. She came back and raced in 2019. This horse was foaled in 2017. So yeah, so it's obviously come back after that. We have we actually have a new kitten, and it's quite friendly. It likes playing on the keyboards as well, which is not ideal. So yep.
I got a new cat too, Paul.
Yeah, I know, Taz. It's all good. This show's getting better and better. I think by the time we finish, it'll be flying.
Well, you don't want a structure, so I'm just going.
I like no structure, and I like it when I can produce some different things there as well. So yeah, no, it was one of the interesting runners I did find for the week. That one, Tobes. I thought I'd like to ask the Cravens and that which way it did go with that. So yeah, because she was a good mare, Jillaby Jitterbug as well. So yeah,
I'll find out for you, Paul, and I'll report back in next week. How does that sound?
I'll possibly find out before that, but that's okay. Don't stress too much at all. That's all good.
What about the viewers, Paul? The viewers.
I'll report it in on Campbell's comments.
Well, there's 3 or 4 people that watch this show that want to know.
You said about the views last week. If you're going to watch this show, can you watch it early? Don't delay on it, because Tobes gets a little bit anxious when the views are down. Fair call, Daniel, or not?
Oh, he is a bit worried about the numbers, but it's not always about the numbers. We should know that with COVID, it's not all about numbers.
6. Yeah, and your horse is going around on Sunday night as well, Tobes. Hugo Rocks.
Yep.
He's got it again.
Smoking the pipe, Paul. Smoking the pipe. Belittled has 0 chance Saturday night.
I love your work now. See, that's a problem. You put too much pressure on the poor little bugger. You put too much pressure on him.
I wouldn't back him with your money, and that'd be probably the first dollars you ever earned, because he'd still have it, I reckon.
That's the silliest thing you can say, because that's when he can win the race. He is tempo-driven, and there was 0 tempo. Mick Bellman went to the front, walked, which is easy once, and then that's it, game over. So
yeah, you had no chance. I'm not saying you had a chance.
Yeah, that's all good. He's got another prop coming, Daniel. I'm waiting for it. He's getting it together. He has to push it together.
He's pulling something together.
Daniel, what have you got for us, please?
Yeah,
straighten the show up a
bit. It's a good card.
I think I found your wallet too, Paul. I think I found your wallet here too. Unbelievable.
It's a good card at Melton on Saturday night. There's no absolute standout on the card. It's just a really good metro meeting, and I think there'll be probably a bit of value for the punters out there across the night. The Trotters Free for All is a good race. There's a couple of mares that are going in that race that are stepping up to the free for all class for the first time, so that'll make that race a little bit interesting. in that particular race, we've got Sparkling Success, who's been very consistent of late. But I'm really keen to see how Aldebaran Crescent and Peregrine Phoenix both go in that class. Particularly Aldebaran Crescent, I think, has been going really, really well of late. Gets as a tricky draw out in 7, but if there's a bit of pace on, she could certainly be an each-way play. And the 7th race, the 80 to 89 rate, is a really nice race. There's a few that have been going really nicely of late, Iconic Major and Boy from Bondi. But Live on Broadway's been a really interesting runner. Obviously, was off the scene for quite a while. I thought his runs lately have been pretty consistent. He gets the inside of the second row draw, and if he gets a bit of luck, he might be a chance of running over the top of them. But probably those two on an each-way basis are probably the ones to look at. But it's a really even card of racing there on Saturday night, and that's really good to see.
It is indeed. Our trotter's going round in the last. Are you ringing someone, Tobes?
Yeah. Paddy, it's Toby McKinnon. We're just live on air wondering if Gilby Dynamite is embryo transfer. We'll probably be recording for about another 15 minutes. So if you can let us know, that'd be good. Cheers, mate.
Prosthesis is going around in the last at Melton. And I was going to say, the Sweetheart Series, what Pat Driscoll's been able to... Yes, Toby?
Before you go further with Prosthesis, a fair chance, Paul, went very well at Cranbourne. I did speak to Kenny Tippett. No, I did speak to Ken Tippett today via text machine, and it's a horse. There's a really good story behind this horse when it wins a race, and unfortunately he's not able to come on SEN track tomorrow. I was hoping to get him on and tell the story, but it'll have to be another day. So fingers crossed this horse can win on Saturday night for him. It'll be a well-deserved win.
Absolutely.
That was actually serious, that one.
I could get him on Campbell's comments before SEN. We could have a little bit of a competition happening, Daniel. That'd be a bit of fun, wouldn't it?
It was a bit jam-packed with the Mark Purdens of the world today. He's been hassling me to come on.
Cha-ching.
Here we go.
I want to just highlight the job. I love the trotters and how they're coming along, and Pat Driscoll and being able to lease a lot of these horses out, and the way the Aldebaran Sweetheart Trot final looks now, it's a really good race with some real up-and-coming trotters, and I think well done to Yabby Dam Farms. He is not a sponsor. He doesn't do anything at all for... We shouldn't say that. I do work for him, but he's not a paid sponsor or anything like that. I just think the job that he's doing, getting these horses out into other people's hands and raising the bar on the industry, I think is great. Sorry, Tobes.
I love how they program those heats into the final, Paul. Normally when they're heats, it was like 46 to 65, the bracket. If they just ran 4 heats open like that, the 465 rated horses are all win those races at $1.40. So, but they did it different with the 46 to 50 and the small heats into the one final. You can cop that in the final, but they made them such even races in all the heats. Terrific way of doing it. Absolutely love that. I think there should be a lot more of it.
Do you know how the Sweetheart Series used to work before it came to the new rating system? There used to be a TO heat and then a T1 to T3 heat, because if you actually remember a picture on my wall, that was one of those pictures. But yeah, that's how they used to run it. So that'll be why they'll be still sticking to that tradition. But I thought it was a little bit odd that they didn't keep the 46s and then the other ones. But I like the series. I agree with you, Tobes. I totally agree with you. I like the way they've done it this year. But it used to be a race that it had a weird little rating system with it.
I think Gary actually programmed it first as a 36 heat and a 35 to 32 heat, Paul. And then, of course, the class system came and then the rating system.
Right. Okay. Very good. I just know...
Because before the C system, I think Trotters started at a 36, didn't they?
No, you're going back before me, Tobes. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's how Gary did it first in 1963, Paul.
I hope I wasn't even no, I'm not even going there. I'm just leaving my mum way out of it. Okay, it's all good. We're just not even going there. But it is a time honoured race. There's been some ripping horses win it over the years too. Like it's a really good race, the Sweetheart Series, and it's good to see that it still continues, as you said, it's an up to 66 is what it's got on the final thing. But you reckon it started about 46, did it, Tobes?
1946, yeah.
No,
Possibly.
the rating system, you muppet. It's got a 47 rater in the final, but anyway, that's all right. Daniel, had you finished?
I don't know the stuff.
No, I'm done. I'm out of material. I haven't got anything left. Toby's too good for me.
We must give Neville.
I didn't have any material to start with.
We must give Neville Pangrazio a big shout out too. He's having a rip and run at the minute with Tequila Brie. He's doing a great job. One thing I would like to do.
Your mate, or your mate, or your mate.
I'm not going to say he's me mate or not. I like sticking up for people that are doing a good job, mate. I got something for you here in a second. Kelly Partners today.
It won't be cash, that's for sure.
Kelly Partners today, Paul Dobson put a tweet out today about anyone that's experiencing some hardship. We've got to realise that there's no government handouts at the minute with this lockdown, especially for the guys in Melbourne. Here in country Victoria, we look like we're seeing a little bit of the end of it, so people can get back to a bit of normality. But please, if you are experiencing any hardship, go to kellypartners.com.au and visit their site, get in touch with them because they're only willing to help. I'm not going to say they'll do it for nothing, but I don't think they're going to charge a lot for it either, just to help you out, guide you and send you in the right direction. So I think well done to them, and it's a big shout out. And if anyone is having trouble, please look out to other people as well, because it is hard times. It fell on us very quickly, and Tobes, you're still in lockdown, but fortunate enough for us, we're able to, as I say, hopefully get back to a bit of normality. Nothing. The boys have got nothing. One other thing, very, very quickly before I go on that, to Ballarat.
Was there a question?
Well, I did sort of say that we're back to some sort of normality. I thought you'd say that you're not. Ballarat, Friday night, they put a post out just before saying that because of the way the government has handled everything going back, that the general public won't be there on Friday night. So don't think just because restrictions have eased, it is actually still going to be the status quo for harness racing meetings for the short term, I believe, anyway. So it will just be participants and drivers, trainers and drivers, and other, what's the right word I'm looking for, Tobes? People that are meant to be
essential workers.
Thank you. That's the word, yeah. Essential workers on the judges, callers, the likes. So just be aware of that. So, yeah, that is Friday as well. Yes, Tobes?
Where I am is not in Melbourne, Paul. My mum's property is not in Melbourne.
Okay. No, well, it couldn't be because they used to train. They used to trade horses there. You said, and I was actually thinking that for some reason around the skyscrapers.
She's about. We're probably 400 metres from what's called Boundary Road, and that Boundary Road is the boundary between Melbourne and country.
Yep. Very good. All right. One other thing I am going to do is look after one of my sponsors with Nutrien. They got their, I wouldn't have a clue, I've got something over the top. But Winter Woolies online sale starts this Friday. Make sure you go to auctionsplus.com.au, new website that is doing it. And before Toby turns around and goes cha-ching, Daniel, just got a little thing to point out to you here. These are some of the names that Toby has dropped so far in his little show where he does that little thing. NZB, Cambrai, SEN, Miss Artemis, or Marky Watson, Paddy Lee, who hasn't returned his phone call either, we might mention, and Kenny Tippett. He is better than me at dropping names, I reckon.
He's got plenty, and he's probably still got plenty to give as well.
He's got nothing left. He's flat. He's got no more props.
He's going to have to find. He'll have to find more props for next week.
Did the fan come out at all?
Come on.
No, he was going to. He was going to bring the fan out for the Shep Trial fans.
Yeah.
What do you want? You want next week? I'll come on and I won't say anyone's name for the whole show. No one will know what we're talking about.
No. It's all fair. It's all fair. It's just you like to dish the coin out, so it's all fine. Yes, mate. You got something else before we log off?
The duels on Sunday, Paul. Yep. The last 54 duels, Mark Purden and Natalie Rasmussen have trained 28 of the winners of the last 54.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable sort of numbers, isn't it?
I was watching Box Seat with Mick Guerin and that the other night, and I think it's something like there's about one favourite traditionally doesn't win on the duels night as well. There's some staggering figure like that, so yeah.
I know I'm not allowed to name names, so I won't say any names of the horses, but they're actually, it's two people involved, Paul. One of their names rhymes with Park Murden.
Say their names. Come on.
And the other one's name rhymes with Radley Nasmussen. and they're driving 5 of the favourites on the day, Paul. 5 of them. I won't name them.
No, yeah, but it was.
Not allowed to say name.
It was an interesting stat that I saw the other day, and it's actually a good show, Box Seat. If you want to get into the duels, I recommend you go and watch that show. They give a pretty good analysis. They listen to all the drivers as well. So if you want to get into it, and that starts. Which way does it work? I think it starts at 10:30 our time. Yeah, because it's about 12:30 is the first, so it's 10:30 our time. So tune in.
And Mick Guerin's on SEN Track every Thursday at 12 o'clock, Paul.
Very, very good. It doesn't rhyme with anything. Guerin, surely.
You said his name.
Guerin, we could say it rhymes with orange. All right, so we'll just say it rhymes with orange.
Did you know, Paul, that Michael Bellman's driven more placings than James Urbison's had drives?
What, this year or all time?
All time.
All time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The Dad and Dave. Who won the quiz today?
Michael Bellman 5-2. You want to do the Who Am I?
This is good. This is good TV, right? Daniel, did you listen to it today?
No, I didn't. I was busy working, so yeah.
Right, Tobes.
I'll just quickly. I was born on December 5, 1966. I've driven 406 and trained 46 winners. I am a member of the Harness Racing Advisory Council Victorian Square Trotters Association.
I'm going to say one person. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to because I'll get into trouble. I'm not going to.
I have a quilty buckle and represented Australia.
Anne-Marie Conroy. Yep. I was very cautious.
I represented Australia in the International Women's Trot at the Meadowlands in 1996. I am Anne-Marie Conroy.
Yep. Why didn't you have that one on when I was taking on Grant? Problem is, Grant would have known it too. So
she's in an exclusive club of about 10 people, Paul, that have been the Who Am I on my quiz, and that'd be probably better than driving in America in the Meadowlands.
Yep. You keep believing that, Topes, and it'll be all good. This has been On Loose Lines. Random show.
Do you think you'll want structure soon?
What?
Dan? Do you think you want some structure and a plan?
Dan's hung up. Dan's hung up on us. He's gone. I reckon he's pushed the wrong button, but he's left us. Tobes, thank you very much, mate.
One more time, Paul.
One more time, what? He's back. No, he's gone completely. Tobes has gone as well. Thanks, guys.